What's up, YouTube? I came on here today to kind of break some stuff down. I was talking to an associate of mine today, and I guess for the lack of a better word, the spirit came over me. And what I mean by that is, I guess I'm more comfortable talking about it on a public level now is because, you got people like Kanye and a lot of other people with bigger names that are starting to decode the matrix, for the lack of a better word, and also because that word has been floating around a lot lately and the last decade. But what I want to start with today, I'm kind of freestyling this, but that's the beauty about truth. You can freestyle it, have it come out. It's how it comes out as long as you speaking the truth. But not saying I'm a religious man, but I do believe in God, and I do believe in Jesus, and I believe in ancestors. But what I want to talk about, I want to give people, and hopefully the powers that be don't get too angry at me for speaking on some things, because, it's not too many people that really understand the scriptures for what they are and able to decode them. I don't know if preachers and pastors understand it to its full extent, and they're not able to share what it's really saying. But I'm just jump right into it. So I don't know who's all familiar with the scriptures and not. If not, you can go research all this. We got Google now, and it makes everything 10 times easier. But when we talking about the Jesus story, and when he had his disciples, and I don't know what book, I think Matthew's covers Jesus' journey, and there's some other books in there that covers Jesus' journey. But what I wanted to touch upon is the fact that when Jesus was here and he was talking about his disciples, he took them to a mountain. And I don't remember if that was Mount Zion or what was the name of the mountain. I've read the Bible over the years and researched the scriptures. And just like I do anything, I try to retain what stands out to me and speaks to me spiritually. But with the Bible, when Jesus took them to that mountain, and don't quote me word for word, but basically the sum of the story was something like a spaceship had met Jesus on that mountaintop. And he only had certain disciples. I don't know if he had all 12 or just a handful of them, but I know Peter was one of them. So Jesus had entered this UFO, spaceship, whatever you want to call it. And when he came out, he was transformed to his godly self, his original physical body. Not his human body, but whatever being he is outside of the human form. Now, what's so deep about that is if people are not woke or understand it to the full capacity of the way God was giving us hints of what really is and how he really operates and how the universe really operates, he was leaving clues like that. Jesus wasn't the first supernatural being that inhabited a human body to come and decode the matrix for those who needed to follow him, that was going to come after, or those that was lost in the present time. So the reason I'm bringing that up is because, when you think about movies are leaving little blueprints and clues of what's really going on and our reality and our existence in general. Now, existence is just existence. So that's covering every realm of possibilities of existence, whether it's multi-dimensional, parallel universes, what's the other one they use? Well, we'll get back to it, but basically, universal, outer space, different planets, the dream realm, it's one I'm looking for, but it's slipping my tongue right now. I'll get back to it though. But the point of what I'm saying is, okay, for Jesus to come out of that spaceship and he was in his godly form, the Bible basically described him almost like a giant. He was bigger. They didn't really give too much detail of features, but from my understanding, he was still on two legs. He still had two arms, still had a head, face, basic human anatomy or humanoid anatomy. So what people didn't pay attention to is that, why did Jesus have to go into the spaceship and transform? Now, I'm about to give y'all a little clue in the movies. The reason the movies show us a lot, the movies is kind of like the Bible too. All these movies that come out, it's a reason for a lot of them, especially the sci-fi ones. But basically, if you seen the movie Avatar and how they uploaded the human dude that was in a wheelchair as consciousness into one of them Avatar humanoid alien things, think of Jesus as the opposite of that. So what's been going on in this matrix, this world, our reality, Earth, is that when God needs to send one of these divine beings to this planet, he's basically uploading that being's consciousness into a human body. Now, you got to think about that for a second. That means that divine being, or that futuristic or that more developed being that's a species from whatever planet or whatever universe or whatever dimension it comes from, already has a physical body somewhere else, in a awareness, a consciousness of awareness of its existence prior to its visitation to Earth. Because from my personal theory is that human beings are some of the youngest species compared to what God has already created in other species, and I don't have names for them because I haven't met them. But so if you take the same theory as the movie Avatar and flip that around and think about these advanced civilizations or species or beings from other places, wherever that may be, visiting Earth, they're descending instead of ascending. So for the humans that haven't caught, modern day humans that aren't ready for that type of exposure, they can't appear to us in their natural form, so they have to walk amongst us as humans. Because, if you think about the ancient times, I'm pretty sure they seen everything under the sun because it wasn't cameras that we're aware of, or any type of physical recording going on to capture these sites other than hieroglyphics and drawings and things of that nature on caves and etc. Tablets, scrolls. But my point of what I'm saying is, what's exactly going on when these beings has hit this planet is they're a divine being, their consciousness, for the lack of a better explanation, because God is everything and he's the creator of creation. So I can only explain it in the verbiage that a human has exposure to. So basically, he's uploading the consciousness into a being, a human being, just like they're doing today in science. They can build a whole baby outside of a woman's womb in a little incubator type of whatever it is. And that's the same thing, but God is so advanced that if you think about the story, Mary, the reason it sounds so far-fetched is because they like, well, she was a virgin, woo, woo, woo. And we only can, reproduce as humans is by a man planting his seed into a woman's womb. Right. But if the humans on this planet can create a baby outside of a woman's stomach or implant another egg or a baby inside of a woman's stomach, you got to be a little bit more wiser than that. So what's stopping God from allowing a natural, organic body, I'm not saying it has a soul in it, a body to form in a woman's womb? Because our bodies are our bodies are basically machines anyways. We have electrons, neutrons, neurons. The brain is electricity. We're energy. We conduct electricity. So that right there lets you know that we were created based off of like science, in a sense, for the lack of a better word. So God, in a sense, is a creator, which could be a scientist, an innovator, all the above. So when you think about that, the body conducts electricity. It's only so many things on this planet that conduct electricity, and that's primarily metal. Anything in a metal family. And then when you think about elements, our body need elements, calcium, iron. Why do we need these things if we're not a machine? We're a machine. These are just our avatars. These bodies are just our avatars, but they're so advanced. The human body is so advanced that it's an organically machine that actually grows and evolves and is self reproducing, and not only that, is self-healing. You know what I'm saying? Self regenerating. So when you think about all that, then it's easy to grab the concept that God created a fetus that was growing inside of something that's already another human body, that's already a machine. It's very possible, especially when you're talking about someone like God that's so advanced with his technology and his knowledge and his wisdom. He's the creator of creation. So what is happening is that he was just creating a avatar, a vessel for Jesus' consciousness. So stay on mind of, if you've seen the movie Avatar, stay focused on that movie. Because when the dude came and they offered him that job to invade this alien planet of these long blue humanoid beings, they already had an organic body cloned and growing in this incubator tube that was genetically only modified for his consciousness to inhabit. Nobody else's consciousness could inhabit. So once that human inhabited that avatar body, now he has two existing bodies that he can bounce back and forth to. And whenever his consciousness is in the avatar body, his human avatar is empty, and vice versa. Because if you recall the movie, when they took him out of the avatar's body, the avatar just fell limp. Nothing else could inhabit it, but he could go back and forth from him as long as they was unharmed. So the reason I'm bringing that up, when Jesus described, when he came out of that spaceship, he described, the scriptures described that he was in his true form, his godly form. They say something about he was real extremely tall and big, and he's in his God form, his divinity, his more ascended version of his natural self other than a human. So that's what was going on. That's why he had to enter the spaceship, because they had to make sure once they took the consciousness out of the human body and he went back into his regular form, that human body would be untouched or anything of that nature. No harm would go to it. And also, I felt like they were hiding from the disciples at the time exactly how it happens. You know what I'm saying? Because the world wasn't ready for that type of technology or that type of knowledge, because they couldn't fathom it. So he said, don't tell nobody what you've seen today. And then he went back in there and came back as the human version of Jesus. So that's very powerful if you really understand what's going on. Even though they say, well, Jesus was born through it. Right. He was born through a woman here on earth. So, but all what was happening while that baby, that fetus was growing in Mary's stomach, what was going on is the fact that Jesus was, God was just creating a vessel for him to come here and be able to walk amongst us as a human. You know what I'm saying? So you look at the opposite of the Avatar movie, that's all that happened. And that's what's happening with all the prophets they talk about in the Bible. That's why they were so divine and so aware of other things that we wasn't aware of, or back then they wasn't aware of, or anything like that. Maybe in the ancient times, like Egyptian times and long before that, these beings didn't hide their true physical identity, and they came strictly to earth and walked amongst us without hiding, what they really are. But God went a different route, and when he sent Jesus, he sent him through the human form. So when Jesus went back in there, he came out, he came back out as Jesus' form, and he told them not to speak of what they seen. So that's a very powerful scripture and a part of the Bible there that people don't understand. And then so people get confused about like, oh, it's in the spiritual world, it's in that, it's in this. And the case about it is that from my theory is what the scriptures are saying, or any scriptures are just the evidence. God is a physical being. And when they say soul, I believe we are energy, we have soul. But what people are misinterpreting is that I don't think the human body was ever meant to die. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think the reason that's going on, because, they talk about Judgment Day and everything like that. But the Bible also tell you that, he's going to give everybody a new body. So it's all about consciousness. You know what I'm saying? If you have a physical, to roam in a physical realm, you got to have a physical vessel to be in there, be in consciousness. It's just the same thing. We human beings, you know what I'm saying? We God's children. So we done replicated everything on a descended level that God has already been doing through us. Every machine is based off the human anatomy. You know what I'm saying? Just like a computer, we got Siri now. She talks to us and we talk back. You know what I mean? So when you think about that philosophy, it's the same thing. Now, without that computer or smartphone, Siri wouldn't have anything to inhabit it to be in this physical realm. So that's all that's going on. So if you watch a lot of sci-fi movies, and like if they talking about bringing people back to life, they use the word reanimated, because that's all we are. You know what I'm saying? Our bodies are basically, for the lack of a better word, androids or, robots or machines, just built with flesh, a natural organic version, because a robot is metal made out of iron. So are you. You understand what I'm saying? So everything that any machine possesses in it, the human body possesses in it. So it's the same thing. We're conscious. We're fully conscious and aware of that we exist. That's the difference. So, and we're creators just like the creator. So we create everything, but you're not going to create something that's more aware than you, or something that you can't override or control if need be. So that's all that's going on with vessels for God. But at the same time, if he created the vessel, he can always inhabit the vessel, override it, and take over it if need be. So when everybody say, well, how did Jesus resurrect? You got to understand all that. You know what I mean? If them beings went in that cave and operated on his body, his human vessel, and repaired it, just like you repair a dead car
a crashed computer, and Jesus already had another body in his God body. Follow me now. And if he already had a God body, his original body, before he descended to earth, then he never died. He just went to his original body, because he got two bodies now. He got the one God created for him as human, and he got the one that wherever he existed before he came to earth, or whatever being he was, humanoid being he was, alien for the lack of a better word, that body, ain't nothing happened to that, because that was in the presence of God of all time. So when they killed him in the human form, yeah, it shut down the machine, because the body is a machine. If you bleed out all your blood, the machine just can't work no more. So you don't have anything, the consciousness don't have anything to inhabit anymore. You know what I'm saying? So that's all that happened when Jesus died. He died as a human, but he just went back to his original form. That's why he had to show the transformation on top of the mountain to his disciples, so they can understand and fully perceive that I can't die, because the original form is with God. I'm inhabited in this form. That also explains why Jesus was so aware at a young age. He knew what he was doing here. Because he's already, we don't know how old he was before he came and grew up as a human on earth. So they go in there and they go in the cave and they repair the body. And after they repair the body, all they do is think about Avatar. They just upload his consciousness back into the body, so he can walk his last little walk on earth and show his disciples, I resurrected. You know what I'm saying? I resurrected. And then you got to understand, it's almost like, since a lot of human beings ain't got two bodies, because you don't know if you're a divine being from another planet that's just visiting here. You know what I'm saying? So the ones that die that's naturally humans on this planet, it's almost like you see on these sci-fi movies when they upload people's consciousness on them computers. So it's almost like the web, like they call it purgatory. You know, the energy, the consciousness is roaming into this, into like the galaxy, because the galaxy is like a bigger version, the original version, the natural version of what you see on your computer. Everything is like, you can't see what's going on inside the computer, just like in the universe. So it's like, my theory on that is like, wherever the people that's natural humans, their first existence was as a human being, when they die, they just waiting in that waiting place. You know what I'm saying? Before God resurrect their bodies, or whatever the case might be. So people got to understand that, to understand and stop making it so superstitious, the way the Bible is breaking down what was going on. So you got to understand that, you know, God said he made us out of his image, but we don't know what other beings are out there. Now, when you say made us out of his image, okay, you know them beings, they stand up on 2 feet, they got 2 arms, 2 eyes, a mouth for the most part, nose, ears. In the physical realm, it could be other slight differences or major differences, but primarily, when you think about any other species existing on any other planet or any other universe, they're going to be humanoid. So we don't know what God humanoid form looks like, nor Jesus humanoid form looks like. You know what I'm saying? So when you understand that concept of what the Bible was talking about, and then it also it's another example in there to let you know that these prophets were really just more developed species of beings that's come from a higher place, that's been here probably longer than humans, just descending into a human vessel until their time is up. They do what they're supposed to do on her, and then their time is up. And another good example is Moses, because it was like the same thing about Moses. When Moses died, God was very adamant about getting that vessel, the body of Moses. You can look this up too. The reason he wanted the body of Moses is because that body was a holy body, because a divine being inhabited. Not that he was born a divine being as a human. The vessel was created, and then the consciousness of a divine being inhabited that vessel. So God was very adamant about making sure that his angels collected that body. You don't want nobody touching it or nothing, because it became a holy, like a holy grail. You know what I'm saying? And God shows you that when it comes to his prophets that he's seeing, and he has to create a human vessel for these divine ascended beings. He makes sure he take that body with him, that human body with him, because you got to understand, something that powerful to inhabit a human body. You know, so you got to understand all the energy that's probably flowing through that, even when that body is no longer inhabited by that divine being's consciousness. That's why Jesus descended straight up into heaven, full body in a human form, but he really ascended up into a spaceship. You understand what I'm saying? And wherever that body is there. You know, the human, he could have that, but now Jesus got two bodies: his original form, you know what I'm saying, and his human form. But you got to understand that, don't get it confused and try to say, you know, Jesus is an angel, or these other people are angels, these other prophets like Elijah, Samson. No, they wasn't angels, because the Bible specifically let you know that angels are something different. You know what I'm saying? Angels are like, you look at all these sci-fi movies, or you look at Prometheus, that movie Prometheus, they created a robot just to serve